Hello, this is a test stream here. Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com, trying to set things up. Not sure if anyone's in the chat. If you want to chat and ask any questions, Steelers related, I will be here for about the next half hour. Let me know if there's any issues with the audio, too high, too low, any issues with the stream itself. There might be a problem with it right now. I'm kind of looking at. Yeah. Again, we'll be here for the next half hour. Hopefully, we're trying to debug things and just wanted to try something new. I know it's a Saturday. I know there's not a ton of people around on Saturdays. People getting out of the house, watching college football, what have you. Um, but yeah, just wanted to take today, just kind of starting this up and wanted to see, what works, what doesn't, what people like, what we can improve on. I'm going to throw up the coaches film right now of the Steelers' Week 1 win over the Washington Redskins, 38-16. I'll click out of this. Again, this is all kind of new to me, just trying to figure stuff out, what works, what doesn't. Trying to make sure the stream works as well as possible. And I think we had one question come in already from Bassetat on Steelers Depot. And let me click out of the film room here. And he says, I see Hargrave getting a lot more snaps in this game and actually having a pretty dominant performance against Cincinnati's below average center. Do you think this is a bit over optimistic? Yeah, he's talking about Russell Bodine, the center for the Bengals, and he's probably regarded as the weakest link right now for the Bengals offensive line. They gave up 7 sacks to the Jets last week, the most they've given up in a game since 2008. And I think the issue with Hargrave though is just the fact that the play time. I think he had before the last series against Washington in Week 1. I think he had 2 snaps as a nickel rusher. And because it's going to be just so dominant, where it's Hayward and Tuitt playing, as many snaps as possible, and they got a rest late in the game, and they give Hargrave a couple more snaps. So obviously Hargrave's going to get his work in base, but just knowing the way the Bengals kind of operate, especially with the injuries at tight end, they're going to be an 11 personnel kind of team most of the time. So I just don't know what the opportunity Hargrave is going to get to really, work and be able to be productive. Just because the snap count's going to always kind of be down. Because his team's going to play Cam Hayward and Stephon Tuitt as much as possible, and just put Hargrave in when those guys need a small break. And obviously in the case of Washington's game, in the fourth quarter, the last drive when the game was out of hand. So thank you for the question. That'll be good though. I mean, Hargrave and fresh legs. He had a great preseason. You're definitely not knocking him for anything there. But thank you for the question. And again, let me know. There's a stream, Steelers Depot, through my YouTube channel, up on Steelers Depot as well. Kind of have it in 2 places. This will be archived, so we'll post it in case you miss it or you're in and out or there's some sort of issue with the stream right now. Trying to keep an eye on everything, seeing if the stream works okay, seeing if the audio is okay, all that fun stuff. I think so far so good. Donald Costar in the chat. Thank you, Donald, so much for tuning in right now. He says, who do you think will have more targets underneath, Jesse James or Eli Rogers? Probably Eli Rogers. I think they'll both definitely get their opportunity. The one thing I did note in my scouting report was I think the Bengals linebackers really try to respect the run and play their run keys really hard, especially number 57 Vincent Ray. So I did make a mention in my report that maybe you can do play action and hit James down the seam. They kind of like that little play action, pull the guard to influence the linebackers, and then hit the tight end down the seam. So I think you could see something for that. But the slot role is so critical in Pittsburgh, and really for any team. It's a very difficult spot to play, but it's such an important part. You're going to get so many third down looks, especially third and short. Oftentimes the first guy you're looking for is your slot guy. You're trying to get the ball out quick. You're trying to get the ball, in a short in space, and trying to get the conversion and move the sticks. You're not always trying to make the most difficult throw to the field, to the sideline. You want that high percentage throw. It often comes in the slot. So Rodgers definitely going to get his chance. I mean, he had 6 catches in the first half last week. So he got shut out in the second half. But I think it'll be Eli Rogers though. To answer your question, Donald. So thank you so much for your question. Again, just putting up the coaches statements of play you want me to look at. Anyone out there, please let me know somewhere either on Twitter, Facebook, if your friends on there, YouTube chat, the Depot comment section. Figured I'd be here for about a half hour unless the chat gets super lively. The last play, James breaks wide open. Yeah, that's actually I think a good one to go to. That was the Eli Rogers catch, right, Donald? It was a 20-yard catch, I think, if I can find what play we're on. Yeah, right here, 443. Right, yeah. This is actually a really kind of cool concept. A couple things I want to look at here with this Jesse James. Ben missed him, but I understand why. You get this trips bunch look, so it's 3-by-1. Sammy Coates is kind of motion in right behind Jesse James, so you get that bunch look. You got AB ISO, which you love to ISO. Your ex receiver when you have a guy like AB. Put him 1-on-1. That's how you're going to win a lot of ways. But this really becomes a spot concept or a snag concept. Verbiage means the same thing, where you're going to get a flat, a curl, and a corner route. That's kind of your snag combination. And the actual snag is the curl route. But the way they do this is pretty interesting. Let me run it through right now to show Jesse James being open and what Ben kind of missed. Here's Ben releasing the ball to Eli, and you see my cursor here. There's Jesse James wide open on the corner route. What happened was Sua Cravens, the Redskins, I think second round pick this year, the linebacker, the rookie, bites really hard on the run here. We'll show it. The end zone angle has a good view of it because he's so focused on his keys. Here's Cravens right here, and I was watching this whenever I went through the tape the first time, and he just totally just does not recognize pass until it's way too late. But we'll run it through. And there's Cravens coming up for the run because he sees the bunch. He thinks, okay, got the receiver in. It's going to be a run play of some sort. There he is right there. And you can see him bail. There's 36 right there, trying to now chase Jesse James. And we'll go back to the aerial view on that. And there's Cravens right here trying to look for Jesse James, and who gets, completely wide open. But I'll show the concept really quickly because it's different and creative, and I definitely dig it. Basically, in any snag concept, the first flat or the first progression is going to be the flat, and that's where Ben looks here. I think it's the third and short play. Ben's looking for the flat, but they get man coverage, and so oftentimes the flat's not going to be open in man coverage. So he's got to come off his second read, and he ends up hitting Eli Rogers coming across. And they get a big play out of it, which is really nice, obviously to move the sticks. But Rogers' route is kind of weird because it's almost like a mesh concept. Because you watch Rogers, he starts on a curl, then he works his way down, and then he's trying to pick the corner, and he runs across. I'd never really seen anything like that before, so I'm not sure if Rogers was designed or there's some sort of just miscommunication or freelancing or what he was looking for right there. But to the idea of a snag, instead of just having Eli Rogers be that curl guy, they bring AB on a drag route across, and he ends up replacing uh, that guy as the snag guy. So there's your snag. That's the curl basically. Even though it's a drag route, it serves the same purpose. There's Jesse James on the corner, and then down at the bottom you see Sammy Coates, who had come on as flat. And then he was kind of breaking it off, just trying to extend the play. And then, they end up getting man coverage. It almost is a mesh because you have Eli Rogers who eventually comes over, Antonio Brown. I think the corners might get picked here. We'll run it through here real quick. Now the corner, I think that was who is that? Is that Norman? That is Josh Norman. I'm not really sure what he was anticipating there. I don't know if he thought the route was going to break vertically. He never really got picked. He was just playing outside leverage, and then he had to rally back when Rogers came across the field. But yeah, that was James definitely got open, but that was Sua Cravens, a rookie, biting really bad on not even really a run kick. It really wasn't a whole lot of play action. It was high hat by the offensive line. But yeah, James definitely open on that play. So good point, Donald. Ashley Bright, this is the greatest thing since the flux capacitor. Truly incredible. Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate it. Glad you guys like it so far. Yeah, we're trying stuff out. I have a couple other things I might, incorporate through. Yeah, I'm just trying to get the basics down right now. Make sure the stream is going okay because I know it's maybe a little funny sometimes. I might have to change, resolution, quality, stuff like that. A couple more questions coming in. Again, you can send them on Steelers Depot through the YouTube chat on the live stream right now. ZJ Ward says, wondering, is Ladarius Green wearing 89 now that Spaeth is gone? No, Ladarius Green is wearing number 80. Number 80. Hopefully, we see a number 80 on the field this year. Obviously, Ladarius Green is kind of one of the big mysteries right now for the Steelers. I spent a lot of time talking about that. I don't want to rehash it all. If you get him, that's great. If not, you play on. The Steelers are used to not having their guys around, so nothing lost, nothing gained. I guess in that sense of it. I mean, it's unfortunate. You put money into a guy and you think he's going to be part of your offense, and he isn't. But it's not like you really had him in the first place, so it's hard to miss him because you never got that on-field component. Uh, so yeah, Darius Green wearing number 80. Yeah, Donald says, thanks for sticking around, Donald. I don't want to be the only guy in here right now. On the two fourth down plays, multiple players were open. Do you think this is due to great play design or breakdown of the defense? Yeah, let's take a look at that real quick. Let me pull it up. I think it's just 4th and 1, and everyone thinks you're going to run the football because of the down and distance. Let me pull up the touchdown. Is that in the second quarter? Yeah, here's the first 4th and 1. Yeah, I pulled up the stat for my stats of the weird, and I went back on Pro Football References gameplay finder, and I looked for any other instance of a team completing two 4th and 1 passes in the first half since 1994, as far back as PFR's gameplay finder goes, and I could not find another team that had done it. So I believe Pittsburgh's the first team, maybe ever, definitely since 1994, to complete two 4th and 1 passes, because you just think it's going to be run the whole way. And Ben's aggressive. He's got confidence in his game. He's got all the confidence in the world in Antonio Brown, and rightfully so. So, one, I just think is that aggressive mentality that not really any other team's going to try to pull off because it is so risky. If it doesn't work, you're gonna hear that all week long. So I think that's a big component to it. And so I don't know if it's a breakdown. This first one, I don't know if it's really a breakdown. D'Angelo Hall, the safety here, we'll look at it. He's trying to come up. He's communicating to the linebacker some signal, and he doesn't really get much depth. He's trying to again play the run, and so he doesn't really end up offering much support. You see him here. He's just basically at the same level as AB is. So he really does not provide any presence over the top. And then I think Breeland kind of looks back for the football, and either way, it's Breeland one-on-one with AB, and it's a losing matchup to be in. Um, you see Breeland look for the football here, and I always hate. I mean, I get why corners look back for the football because they want to try to make a play on it. But when you're going against AB 4th and 1, you look back. You're going to give that guy space. You're going to get out of phase. You want to be in the hip pocket of the receiver. You're going to have a bad time. And you see the space given up when Breeland looks back for the football. And that pass was a little underthrown from Ben. So if Breeland's able to stay tight to the hip, he might just naturally break the football up just by being in the way or be able to read the eyes of AB and make a play on the football. So I think it's just I think it's a situation. I think it's the Steelers' aggressiveness. I think they just have some really good players to pull it off. The few teams can kind of boast. And yeah, that was the first touchdown of the game to make it 7-6. Again, let me know if you have any problems with the audio right now. Anything with the stream. If you do see an issue, please let me know. I'm trying to do this live and talk with you guys, so I'm trying to, juggle a bunch of stuff right now. Um, Trying to see the stream quality of it right now. Again, we'll hang out for a little bit if there's interest, if there's people around. Again, I know it's Saturday. College football is on. I have the Louisville, Florida State game on, and it looks like Louisville just scored again. I had my back turned to it. Lamar Jackson is ridiculous. I'm not. You don't need me to validate that for you guys, but yeah, it's just been nonstop against FSU is punting today. They're punting right now, and then I have the Temple Penn State game on. Looks like Penn State's up 24-10. They just got a field goal early here in the second half. So yeah, a lot of good college football on today. You got what is that? Pitt, Oklahoma State later on tonight. Oklahoma, Ohio State's probably the marquee match. I believe that's at 7:30 down in Norman. So again, Alex Kozora, Steelers Depot, just trying something out on a Saturday, kind of a lazy Saturday for all of us. So I figured, let's if we make any mistakes, that's okay. If something goes wrong, hey, that's no big deal. Again, this will be archived up, later today for Steelers Depot on the post that it's in right now. Once it's done processing and everything. Zach Sanders says, "How do I feel about Cockrell's overall performance this game? Not entirely pleased with it, Zach. The biggest thing I said about Ross Cockrell was he's got to be more physical, especially now he's going to be a base corner, a starting guy. Last year in the nickel, you're playing a lot of pass plays. The run isn't as important, although it still is important to the Steelers, philosophically. But base corner, it only heightens, and I just don't think the physicality is totally there. Let me pull up an example here of that going through the game here. It came early on. And I mean, I like Cockley. He's a super smart guy. I think people have to understand he was put in a really tough spot last year. I've written about it. Mike Tomlin, has talked about it before. The IQ that Cockrell has to be claimed off waiver or not claimed, but signed right before the start of the season. And to come in and play 60% of the snaps. It's a high IQ guy. He's a decent athlete. He's a guy that they like. But even coming out of Duke, I said physicality. Is he really embrace playing the run? Does he come down hill pretty hard? Can he be a guy like William Gay? And he's not. He's not William Gay. So let me show a play here. It's a third and 14 on Washington's first drive. And they're going to throw a little crosser there to Jordan Reed against zone coverage. And here's Cockrell at the top of the screen. And I know he's trying to keep us contained, not come in hard and give Reed the sideline. But I just want to see him put his face in the fan. It was a little disappointing that he's not really trying to get in there and get a big hit and help gang tackle and rally to the football. Watch Cam Hayward here. I'm going to let this run through real quick because we have to just compare the physicality of Cam Hayward and the effort to what Cockrell's doing. And Cam Hayward's just an animal. He's a different breed, and he's absolutely just a joy to watch. But watch the hustle by Cam Hayward here as he chases this football downfield. He's the first guy to get there actually, and he takes down Jordan Reed and takes him short of the sticks. Third and 14. It's 4th and 1. The Redskins end up punting on this play, so that was a huge play by him. But we'll watch Cockrell here. And I just want to see a little bit more physicality. Let's drive to the football. Put your face in the fan right here. Don't be passive about it. Throw your shoulder into Reed and just make sure maybe the ball comes out. You never know what can happen. But he kind of just, Hayward cleans it up. Cockrell stays on his feet. Not super involved there. I think Game Pass is slowing up a little bit. Some buffering. But the big concern, one thing I said for this week against the Bengals is, you have to do a lot of things to slow down AJ Green. One, you can't stop him, but you can do some things to slow him down. So this is not the only thing I would do, but honestly, I would probably shadow, William Gay on AJ Green, and it's not just because of the deep ball. Of course, they're a big vertical threat, but it's because of the screen game that they're going to throw. The Bengals ran 7 wide receiver screens last week. They all got positive yards. They average about 12 yards per play, and Green has that size where he's going to be able to make the cornerback miss in space if they got soft coverage. Um, and I don't trust Cockrell enough to be able to come up and make that tackle against AJ Green. And you start allowing Yak, you got a guy like Green in space who's a tremendous athlete, tough guy to bring down the sideline. It's going to be your tough time. So I'd much rather have William Gay being able to come up and make that play against that screen pass to AJ Green than Ross Cockrell. So from that standpoint, that's a big reason why I'd rather have Gay on Green than Ross Cockrell. And if you do have Cockrell, you have to roll him up and press him. You have to discourage that screen game, especially on 1st and 10, because they threw 5 of the 7 screens came on 1st and 10 from the Bengals last week. So if you're gonna put Cockrell on him, you got to roll him up so they can't throw that screen, and that always has the chance of getting beat over the top. You start pressing your techniques off, or AJ Green is just that good. You're going to get some 50-50 balls, some 9 routes, some back shoulder fades, some slant routes if you're playing outside leverage. He's going to cross your face, and you got to tackle from behind. So it's a tough challenge all around. You got to do a lot of different things to try to slow down AJ Green. But Ross Cockrell's physicality is the big concern I've had. I've said it for a long time now. And I don't think the game against Washington really changed my opinion. And that's long season, but big issue for him. Donald saying, should he be able to contain? It depends how you define contain. Green usually has a lot of success against Pittsburgh. It's, as like Taylor's gone away to the sunset, his success is only heightened. the good news is that even in the big games that AJ Green has had, I think he's had like four tremendous games against the Steelers. The Steelers are 2-2 in those games, so it's basically it's not been that because AJ Green gets 100 yards and a touchdown, the Bengals are going to win the game. There's been games where he's gone off and had big stats and they've lost. There's been games where he's gone off, had big stats, and they've won. So if there is any sort of upside to that, it is not feel like a deal breaker. If he gets 8 for 80 and zero touchdowns, I will take that right now. Yeah, absolutely, Donald. I think Dave were talking about in the podcast. Would you take that if you're the Steelers? And absolutely, no questions about it. If you can go 8 for 80 and no touchdowns, definitely sign me up. Yeah, the Game Pass gets a little funny sometimes. I'm just kind of clicking around. I don't want to show the whole game. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't need Roger Goodell showing up on my door. But if there's a play you want to look at, please let me know. But yeah, Donald, yeah, 8 for 80, I'll take it. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think he's gonna get more than that. I think he's probably gonna score. But I will definitely take 8 for 80. Bass Tat again says, can we take a look at the Harrison interception in the fourth quarter? I thought the ball hit the ground. Sure, we'll take a look here. Let me click to it. I know where that one's at, so I don't have to spend the whole time trying to click around for it. I can't tell if it hit the ground or not, but at that point the game was over, so I really wasn't even paying a whole lot of attention to it. Um, just a three-man rush. They're going to drop 8 in the coverage. You're playing in the red zone. You're going to create some really tight windows. You're playing zone. There's nowhere really great for him to go to the football with. And yeah, did McCullough get a hand on this one? I really didn't look at this play too closely, so we can look at it together here. Again, Alex Kozora, Steelers Depot, doing a little live stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really, really do appreciate it. If people like these, we'll definitely keep these going. But yeah, end of the game here. McCullough does a nice job pushing back the center, and yeah, I think he did get a hand on that. It's a great play by McCullers. Again, you're gonna drop 8 in the coverage. You're gonna you know, create a tough throw no matter where you're gonna go with the football. Let's look at the broadcast angle here. Let me mute Game Pass. We'll look at the broadcast angle here because that might show better if the ball's hit the ground or not. If Game Pass wants to work, which sometimes it will not do. You got to fight with it sometimes, unfortunately. And I have my quality on the stream for the broadcast tape down a little bit just so it runs better. But we'll look at it here. It doesn't. You see the ball? I don't know if they show another look at it. I don't really remember too well. Nah, that might be the only look that they give. Oh, there's a better one. I mean, this goes back to what is a catch, and I have no idea. So I don't think anyone does. I don't think the NFL knows what a catch is. So I'm not gonna try to, it's not the hill I want to die on of what is and isn't a catch. To me, that's a catch. He has his hand under the football, the ball is secured, it doesn't move. Even if it did touch the ground, if the nose of the football touched the ground, he has secure. The ball is secure. It's not moving, and the ball can touch the ground as long as you have it secured and it's not moving around your hands under it and all that stuff. So to me, that's an interception. And it's a nice job by McCullers to get his hand on that one. Yeah, Donald, I turned the Game Pass audio off, muted, just so it wouldn't talk over me. I wanted to turn that off just to not have that extra noise coming in. So that was unintentional. But thank you, though. I appreciate giving me the heads up on that one because I'm sure there's definitely going to be some bugs, some stuff to work out. Some stuff I'm going to add to it. So just some kind of fun stuff, just to make it fun. And we'll do this whenever we can. I'll try to give more advance notice. But I figured, I was thinking last night, let's play around with this and see if this will work and just how well it'll work and whatever bugs there are. We'll work out now on a Saturday, and next week or something we'll hopefully be totally ready and rocking. So again, you want to ask a question, you can ask in the chat on YouTube. You can ask on Steelers Depot, Twitter, however you can find me. Please fire away. We'll hang out as long as there's people around and want to talk. Yeah. Gonna post a link here on Twitter. See if we can get some more people coming into the chat here. Hey everybody, Zach. Yeah, we actually broke that down yesterday. That was the first time I tested this. It wasn't this chat format. It was me kind of doing a talking to the tape kind of thing. So I would actually recommend going back and looking at that one. Just type in Shazier in the search bar on Steelers Depot, and it'll come up because I break it down probably better then than I could now. But we'll look at it here real quick because it was a great play. It was definitely a great play. No doubt about it. Hey, Lem30 420, what's up, man? This is the only five-man rush, only fire zone that Keith Butler ran all night, and it came against Washington's empty set. And I think a big reason why Butler was so passive was because Washington runs so much empty, and it's tough to blitz against that because all the weapons they have. If you're rushing five, you only have six in coverage against an empty set. One-on-one, and guy misses a tackle, and you got a chunk play coming at you. So I think that was a big reason why Butler dialed things down. This is the only one though. This is a fire zone that he ran, and as I wrote yesterday, it was different because usually, and this is what he did last year. If you remember back to last year, week 4 against the Ravens, this is a very similar blitz. It was the Ross Cockrell interception, the big long return that he had against Baltimore, picked off Joe Flacco. They brought the safety in the nickel corner. That is Butler's and LeBeau's Storm Thunder Fire Zone. Basically the same thing. It's just whether you're in base or nickel. What Butler did this year, it's the same exact look, but he brings the left corner and the nickel corner instead of the safety. And so you see Ross Cockrell here, Sean Davis there coming in on a blitz. And again, I break it down more there, but there's Ryan Shazier. He's a three receiver hook guy. He's matching Jordan Reed down the seam. Tremendous athleticism to make that play. A lot of trust for Keith Butler to make that call. You do get the benefit of being in the red zone. You have less space to account for and track vertically, which makes you feel a little bit more confident about that. But that's a great play. We'll let it run through the end zone angle here as well. Again, it's a fire zone, five-man rush. You're going to get your rush lane integrity. Stephon Tuitt becomes your contain guy. Hayward comes down a gap. Moats comes down a gap because you're getting that blitz here. So you have to have rush lane balance. Otherwise, if you don't, you're going to give the quarterback an escape lane, and we don't want that. So it's a nice job here. See everyone rush lane balance. Tuitt ends up losing his footing, actually, and he kind of gets out of, he falls down and loses that contain. But that's the goal here. Is if Tuitt stays on his feet, you have every gap accounted for. Quarterback has nowhere to go. The pressure gets home. That's great. Quarterback can't step up and slide. He's going to run into more pressure. It doesn't get home on this play. That's when you have a guy like Ryan Shazier that can come in and make a big play for you. That's a fantastic play by Jordan Reed. Yesterday, I broke down 3 plays of Shazier, the interception, this play, and then one of the following drive that doesn't really get talked about much, throwaway by Kirk Cousins that actually was influenced by Shazier. So that was probably actually my favorite play to break down of the 3, just because it's one of those that people won't notice too much and won't talk about a lot. But it was very important because it basically forced Washington to settle for a field goal. Let's see. IB Chillin says, "Do you think Timmons will lose his starting job this year? His tackling has been awful." No, I don't think Timmons will lose his starting job. I think this is probably the last year for Lawrence Timmons, though. I know we have a long season and things could change. But no, I just think there's trust. I think he's still a better athlete than people give him credit for. Yeah, he's lost a little bit, but I still think he's a better athlete than what people kind of think he is, especially in the run and sideline to sideline. There's trust, there's leadership, there's experience, ability to communicate well. I think Vince Williams will take over for him next year, but no, I think Timmons does finish the year out. Plus, with the money you're paying him, it is tough to justify sitting him currently. But yeah. Dylan Bayer says, "Thanks for doing this." Thank you, Dylan, for tuning in and watching. Is there any example of a personnel group scheme the Steelers used in this game that could work when defending Green? It's not. If there was a magic wand to stop AJ Green, every team would be using it right now. There's some things you can do. You can, play safety over the top. The problem with that though is just because the Steelers like to be a cover, a single high team. Safety rolling into the box to stop the run. And so it's hard to roll a safety over the top because then you leave everybody else on an island. So I you can't really do that either. I think you have to be creative. You can't just have the same coverage against them every single time because you have to confuse the quarterback too. If you can confuse the quarterback so he can't get the ball to Green, then you win that way as well. Yeah, someone asked me about that in my mailbag on Thursday. I think the first place it starts, though, to trying to slow down AJ Green is being great communicators. You can't blow coverage. You can't have something silly. You can't, have 10 guys on the field or a guy lined up in the wrong spot or someone not getting a call in. You're at home. It's week 2. You had week 1 to work out some of the first game problems that are naturally going to come up. So you can't blow coverage. I think the Jets, the touchdown Green had against Revis, the 54-yarder last week, I think came off of some sort of miscommunication with the corner not, the safety not, cover. They're taking AJ Green on the poster. I don't know all the details on that play, but I think there was some sort of problem. So there was miscommunication that leads to a big play, and you can never have that. So I think it starts, very obviously, very intuitively, though. You have to be a great communicator if you want to, make sure that you're not hurting yourself and beating yourself and giving up big plays to AJ Green. Other than that, like I said, I would personally shadow William Gay on him, not just as much for stopping the vertical game as it is the short game, the screen game, the slants and stuff like that. Because Gay's physical, he's a great tackler. He can get anybody to the ground. And I think Ross Cockrell's going to really struggle in that regard, as he's kind of shown. So I want someone physical that'll play with an edge and can match, what the size and strength that AJ Green brings. Because like I said, the Bengals ran 7 wide receiver screens last week. They averaged 12 yards per play. One of them went for 29 yards. First and 10, you're running a screenplay. It's an elongated run game. You're getting 29 yards out of it. You're in a great spot for your offense. So, again, I don't think there's a magic wand. You can change up some coverages. Be great communicators. Don't beat yourself. Make Green make the plays that he's capable of. Make him earn it. Is all I can really tell you. And it is 48-10 Louisville. I haven't really watched much of the second half because I've been, talking to you guys. But that is just unreal. I mean, I know Louisville's a great team. Lamar Jackson is unreal, but for number 2 team to be down 39 points, that's ridiculous. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Oh, we have a couple in the depot section here. Let's go to Bassetat. I'm butchering your name. I'm sorry. I will get to you in a second. Let me talk to Michael Martin here real quick. He says, any chance Keith Butler plays some of our bigger guys in nickel packages? Tuitt, Hayward, Hargrave, Harrison, or maybe Tuitt, Hargrave, McCullers, Hayward. I know Steeler fans talk about that a lot, and they really want to see it, and I can get that on a certain level. You want to play your best guys out there, but I just don't see it happening. I think you're going to play your 2-4-5, 2 defensive linemen, 4 outside linebackers, 5 DBs. Majority of the time, you're going to play your dime, which is your 2-3-6. Then you're going to have your base 3-4 kind of for the rest. I know that you want to get some of those guys out there, but they haven't shown it once, so I don't have any compelling evidence to think that this is going to be the week where they start to change some of that. Maybe if the pass rush gets so bad, where they feel like they need to make a change, and the pass rush was obviously not up to par Monday night. The other big thing, though, is just, what I do like about that 2-4-5 is you give yourself a lot of flexibility. You can be more varied in your blitzes. You can be more varied in your coverages. Let me try to pull up play. If I can find it here. This is actually the one we went about Shazier last night. That's why it's coming to mind right now. Off the interception. Yeah, here it is. It's 206 here in the first. This is just a real quick example. It's probably not the best example, but you're in your 2-4-5. You want to blitz, but you still want to play your cover 3. So the Steelers end up blitzing Lawrence Timmons here. He ends up coming up the B gap. But you still want to play your cover 3. So Anthony Chickle, the left outside linebacker, he's going to drop into coverage, become the hook defender, to the away side from the blitz, or Ryan Shazier comes over the hash and becomes the hook player to replace where Timmons was at. So this is your way to play cover three while getting a little different of a look. It's not the most exotic thing in the world by any means, but it's a different look at it. We'll play it through again. That's some of the just a very basic level. That's what gives you the flexibility when you have only two down linemen and you have all these athletes and movable pieces that you can kind of do whatever you want with. That's going to vary your looks and your coverages and keep the offensive line, the quarterback, everybody all kind of guessing. Look at it again here from the end zone angle. Timmons comes on a blitz up the B gap. You're going to drop Chickla. You're going to move Shazier over. You run your cover three and you get the blitz out of it. If you have three down linemen, you're a little more fixed because you can't be dropping guys like that as often and with that same kind of success as you can with the outside linebackers in your 2-4-5. So short answer to my long-winded answer is no. I don't think you're going to see that unless the pass rush really falls on its face for several weeks and you feel like you really have to make a change. Maybe you run a little bit of a wrinkle in 3-3-5 in some obvious pass situations, but I think they're going to stick with what they have right now. At least there's no evidence that they're going to make a change right now. Let's get back, Zach Sanders. I will get to you in a second. I want to get back to the depot question. Asking if we could focus on some of Anthony Chickalo's pass rushes. Honestly, I didn't take a huge look at that. He didn't get a whole lot of opportunities. I believe, let's just be off the top of my head right now, I think he dropped on 5 of his 14 opportunities. So that means he rushed the passer, 9 times? So it's a pretty small sample size to look at. I'm not 100% sure all the snaps that he even played. I don't have my my notes up right now from our charting that we do. I don't know. I don't remember exactly when Chickalo played. I think later in the game. Sorry if there's background noise. There's the fire whistle going off, which is awful. I live next to train tracks and it's fire whistle, and don't ever do either of those things. It's it's a long night sometimes. Trains coming through at 3 a.m. in the morning. Hopefully it's not catching too much of that background noise though. But they are pretty loud. I'm just trying to think when Chickalo played. If you have a specific time or can find when he played, then I can definitely look. If Game Pass wants to work. Yeah, I didn't get a great feel though for what Chickalo did. Here he is, his last drive of the game. We'll watch a couple snaps here against the right tackle Morgan Moses. Again, Chickalo dropped a lot. You see him drop there. We showed that example earlier of him dropping. He dropped 5 of his 14 snaps. Part of that was game plan, especially late in the drive. They just did a lot of 3-man rushes to kind of close things out. Here he is coming off the edge here. He's got a big size disadvantage. Morgan Moses, although he's not great in pass protection laterally, he's a huge dude. He's like 6'5", 335 listed. He's probably a lot bigger than that with some really, a lot of length. So you see him just kind of control Chickalo. Good punch. And the ball was coming out pretty quick on this last drive, too. Cousins was trying to get the football out just to move the team down the field, with time running out. So we'll thumb through a couple of these here. There's Chickalo dropping again into coverage, and the Steelers cover 3. So not a great gauge right now on what Chickalo did. His snap count wasn't super high. He played by far the fewest snaps of any of the 4 outside linebackers. Sorry I can't answer your question too much better right now. Zach Sanders. If I had a chance to review LJ Fort when Shazier went out, I remember him getting a really good push. You're right, Zach. He did. It was one of his first snaps. He only played 4 snaps. And it was weird that Fort came in before Vince Williams, and then Williams came in the next drive and ended up playing more snaps the whole game. Williams had 7, Fort had 4. Fort was even, I think he talked about that in the trib today with, I think, Ralph Polk. And he just kind of said, I don't know why coaches put me in there, but they did. And, he wasn't going to ask questions about it. Let's look at that pressure, though, because that was a great play by Ford. He runs over Chris Thompson, the running back here, and we'll get the end zone angle because it's definitely worth looking at. He had a missed tackle, I think, later on in the game here. But yeah, there's LJ Fort right here, just in case you don't know. He's going to come in on Chris Thompson. He's going to run him over, and you get one-on-one like that. It's a back on backers drill, and down goes Kirk Cousins, and you get the incompletion. So. We'll look at that again. Yeah, it's a nice play by LJ Fort. There's a guy that's been putting all his energy away in the last 3-4 years to get into an NFL game in the one play, and he took his vengeance out on Chris Thompson. and Kirk Cousins. So it's great to see LJ Fort get play time. Great guy. At least that's what kind of people say. I don't know him personally, of course, but he's bounced around, the league for a while now. He was on the Steelers practice squad last year. Got signed late in camp. Made a couple plays. Got his cup of coffee. In the postseason last year, with all the injuries that hit, he got to play some special teams, and now he, was a lock to make this team. Coming into camp a couple weeks in, you kind of knew that he was definitely going to make this team, no doubt about it. And hey, he's got a helmet. He's going to get a helmet every week. I'm pretty sure of that, and he's making the most of that chance. So that's great for LJ Fort. Michael Pollard says a little out of left field, but what year do the Steelers pick the next franchise quarterback to take over for Ben? I think it's still going to be a while unless they luck into one. There's some guy they really like, but with a team like this that's always right on the cusp of a Super Bowl, if you make a heavy investment in a quarterback, a guy that's not going to help you right away, you hurt your chances of being able to make that Super Bowl run. So I really couldn't tell you when. And, it could be any year if there's a guy they really like. But the way these things usually go is, you don't take a quarterback until either like the year that guy's going to retire, or the year after he retires, like in that following off season, or the year after that when your team is garbage again and you're getting a high draft pick and you have the chance to get a quarterback without having to trade the farm, the way that some teams have done, like to get up a Jared Goff or a Carson Wentz, like the way the Eagles traded up to get Carson Wentz this year. So I think it's going to be probably like, if the team finds out, Ben Roethlisberger's last year is in 2018, so right before 20, in that offseason, Ben says this is my last year. Hopefully it's not 2018. I'm just throwing a number out there, but I think it's not too often that teams will take a quarterback 2-3 years ahead. Yes, there are examples of that. Aaron Rodgers is a great example, but it's just tough to find a franchise quarterback. Those guys that exist go in the top 5 picks every year, and so unless you're sitting in that point, it's really tough to go get one. So usually, what ends up happening is you just have to wait for your franchise guy to retire, your team to really struggle again. You get a high draft pick, and and then you can finally get your quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger was what the 11th pick overall. When Ben's on this team for the rest of his career, the Steelers are not going to be an 11th pick team kind of team. They're going to be in the 20s. You're not going to get a quarterback then. So unless you luck into one or make a major power move to trade up for one, it is tough to get your guy. So I think it's going to be a while. So again, thank you guys for watching. We'll hang out here for a little bit. I know, Michael. I know you're saying free Javon Hargrave. I'm seeing that a lot on Twitter. I know. Hey, give him time. It's week 1. It's a long season. As Hayward and Tuitt, as they get a lot of snaps and a lot of mileage under their belt this year, you might see more of a rotation throughout the season. No doubt about it. What else do I want to show here? Again, thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions, you can ask through the chat, through Depot, or the comment section up on the post that we have, or Twitter. If you don't know my Twitter handle, it is at Alex_Kozora, Kozora. I do actually want to test one thing out, so hopefully if you guys can tell me. Just because one thing I figured, if I have to step out for a second to get a drink of water or whatever, I might have some music playing in the background. I just want to kind of see what the audio balance is like, or maybe I'm sitting here talking with you guys, and maybe I'll throw some music up or something in the background, just so there's some other sound and not just me talking, or if I'm shutting up for a second, which is rare. There's some music going on, so I'm gonna play. And please yell at me for my musical taste. I have a little playlist, and it's a mix of everything. So everyone can hate me for my musical taste, but play this and let me know if the audio is too loud, if I'm talking, if it's overshadowing me, or if it's too soft or whatever. Play this now. I'm gonna turn my own volume down. This is Little Beastie Boys. But yeah, so Alex Kozora here, SteelersDepot.com. Just watching some football. College football's on. You got the Steelers stream going right now. Their big win over the Washington Redskins. Life is good. Yeah, let me get that off here. Hmm. Okay. If you have any questions, be sure to send them through. If you have a play you want to look at from this game, by all means, please ask. If the audio's too loud of this music, let me know. I'll turn it down. It's hard for me to be able to judge and looking at the levels I have, but that's kind of the only guide I have right now. Yep. A new comment coming in right now. Michael Martin says, if AJ Green slams Cockrell into the deck like CJ Spiller did in the preseason, do we see Artie Burns? Uh, again, I think it's got to be. I think Burns just has to get the reps. This is a guy that played very little in training camp, 44 snaps, 45 snaps in the preseason, and he had what 9 Monday night. So I think maybe by midseason, it's possible if Cockrell doesn't show that physicality because Burns is a physical guy. He will come up and hit you. So I think that's probably maybe the plan, but I don't think you're going to see it this week just because I think Burns isn't in a position to take on those snaps and to face AJ Green, one of the best receivers in the league, a top 5 guy, in your second game when you have not had the reps. So I don't think you're going to see it this week. You're going to probably see again a limited amount of dime packages, some obvious pass situations, some third and long and stuff like that, where you're going to see Burns come in at right cornerback. So you might get some time on AJ Green, but I don't think it's going to be at the expense of Ross Cockrell. Not now. I don't want to sound too low on Cockrell because I think he's a good athlete. He's just obviously a smart guy. I just want him to be more physical. I want him to be play like a Steeler, and have that mentality that William Gay has. Because William Gay, Ross Cockrell, they're about the same size. Cockrell a little bit taller, probably about the same weight. And Gay's obviously a super physical guy that plays to run really well. He embraces that challenge. He comes up to support, does a great job as that run defender. And you'll watch it. If I could find this one play, I don't think I can find it though. I don't think I can find it off the top of my head right now. But it was a play where it was like a 13 personnel the Washington had used, and so it was only one receiver in the game and they ended up flipping Cockrell and Gay because usually Cock was the left cornerback, Gay's the right cornerback. They flipped it, so Cockrell moved to the right cornerback to be over the receiver, and Gay left cornerback to be to the tight end side because they want Gay as that run defender more than they want Cockrell, so they decided to flip things. I don't know when that was. I wish I could show you guys. I'm afraid to start pulling up my charting here. Yeah, Boswell. Boz is the man. What a find! What a find by Pittsburgh. But yeah, Cockrell. To go back to that. Yeah, just not. The physicality is not there, and I don't know if it's ever gonna be there. It's something you kind of either have or you don't. And I've watched him at Duke against Mike Evans just get thrown to the ground quite a bit. So that's the number one concern with Ross Cockrell right now. No doubt about it. Ace says, thoughts on running D-Will up late in the fourth. Be nice to get Fitz some reps. Well, Fitz did get some reps late in the game. But that run game was just going so well, it's hard to get away from it, and you don't want to create any chance for another team to be able to stage a comeback. And, with the way D'Angelo was running the football, it's tough to shy away from him at that point. But I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I do hear what you're saying. But sometimes, you just want to, dance with the person you came with, and D'Angelo's your guy, and you're gonna commit to him. He'll be fine though, definitely. It's not like you're projecting him to be the guy for all 16 games anyway. You know that his snaps are gonna see a major decrease when Le'Veon Bell comes back. So It's not like this is a guy that you're protecting for all 16 games. And in theory, he's going to get a pretty big workload taken off of him and given to Bell here in a couple weeks. Broadcast was over. Let's play that again. Yeah, and Bassetat says the same thing about that. Again, I think it's just the guy that you came with. I wasn't too concerned about it. They were running the football really well. D'Angelo had a great game. You want to put your stamp on the game. Get that energy going. So, I mean, I get it. I understand what you guys are saying, but I'm really not that concerned by it. Of all the concerns I have about that game, it's very, very low on my list. Again, let me know if the audio's good for the music, if it's too low, if it's too high. Maybe I'll bump it up a little bit because I think I had it a little lower than what I was planning on. You can make fun of me for my musical tastes. This is the Struts right now, but I listen to everything. I'm not even that person that says, because you get the cliche answer, what music do you like? Everyone says, I like everything but country and rap. But I'll listen to anything. I'll listen to country, a little bit of rap as well, rock. I mean, I am not picky about anything. So there's a little playlist I have of 20 some songs. It runs the gamut of a bunch of different stuff. Again, if you have a question, feel free to ask Alex Kozora, Steelers Depot. It's college football Saturday. Steelers 1 o'clock tomorrow against the Bengals. And it's going to be a great game. If you haven't checked out the scouting report on Steelers Depot that were posted yesterday, broke down the offense and defense of a very tough Bengals team. And everyone knows that. And, that I think is definitely worth checking out the scouting report to look at kind of the strengths and weaknesses of what Cincinnati does. I think we will probably close up shop here in a couple minutes. I'll get a couple more questions in, though, so send them in if you're looking for a question. Michael Martin says he's not even hearing the music. Okay, let me try to turn it up a little bit. Let me know if you do hear it. Thank you, Michael, though. I appreciate the feedback, definitely. Gonna work out the kinks. I'll go back and listen to this thing and kind of see. I probably know the clicking sound is louder than what I want it to be. I don't know if there's a way to change that. If I just have to be more mindful of it when I click something. Michael Pollard says more conservative defense from Keith Butler, or was keeping his hand close once last week's game was going a certain way. I think Butler had spoken to it, and I had written about it in my Washington scouting report. Again, Washington loves to use a bunch of empty sets, and we'll show one of them here. We'll go back to that Shazier play, that breakup he had. And it is tough to blitz against empty set, because if you want to blitz, you're usually going to have to declare. And because they're going to spread the field on you, and if you're rushing 5, you have 6 in coverage against 5 receivers. That's basically one-on-one in space with the weapons Washington had. It's a really risky decision to make. And the other thing Butler said was, he wanted to give Kirk Cousins a different look because Butler, the Steelers, are known as a blitzing team. So let's give him a different look. Let's rush 3. Let's rush 4. Let's make Cousins, extend 10, 12-play drives. Let's see if he can do it. How does he respond to that challenge? They have to make in-game adjustments because they have a different game plan than what they were expecting and a different look than what they were expecting from the Steelers defense. So I tip my hat to Keith Butler because he's a foot on the pedal kind of guy. He wants to be aggressive. He wants to put the quarterback on the ground. He had to kind of pull back and play a little out of his element, but for the good of the team. So there's an empty set there by Washington. And actually, they blitz on this play. So the one fire zone the Steelers ran the entire game. This is the one 5-man rush they had the entire game. Butler blitzed 2% of the time, which was by far his lowest percentage ever. I think his previous low was something like 16% in a game. Dylan says, if I'm using a software, yes, I'm using OBS, Open Broadcasting Software. Quick story behind that, which I'm sure will interest probably no one, but whenever I was doing those Steelers recap videos with the graininess and everything you saw on my face and blah, 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 I was using Google Hangout, and they went away. It's now everything's being moved over to YouTube Live, and so I had to figure out how to do that. And so the first thing I was trying to do was just figure out all that kind of stuff. You have to get an encoding software on YouTube to start your stream. And I was trying some different stuff. It was really frustrating because I don't know this stuff super well. And then I ended up finding this, and I was able to do my recap. And then I was like, oh, you can capture your screen. And I was like, okay, we'll try some cool stuff with that. And so, this is the first couple test runs we're doing with this. But yeah, open broadcasting software through YouTube, stream live, whatever you want to call it. What we are doing with right now. Alright, Michael says the music was faint in the background. And so I can probably turn it up a little bit more. Yeah, I don't want it to be too loud to overshadow me, but figured some background music would be a good idea. Alright, we'll do last two questions here, then I think I'm gonna take off. I'm gonna write another article here for Steelers Depot. Be sure to follow us rest of the day. Tomorrow, of course, we have our discussion. Matthew Marksey does a great job. Will lead us through that, our game discussion. Everybody kind of piles in and talk about the Steelers. Matt Manzo says, "Hey Alex, how did Hargrave do against the run? Does it seem like he's going to keep McCullers off the field?" That's a really good question, Matt. But the sample size was not there. With Hargrave as the nose tackle in their base 3-4, there was one run play against him. So Washington is a very pass-heavy team, and of course the game circumstances of falling behind dictated pass even more. So Washington barely ran the football, only one snap running the football with Hargrave in as the nose. So I have to give it an incomplete right now for Javon Hargrave against the run. Let's see what Michael says here. Okay, he says the level's good right now. Okay, so let me keep a reminder of what the decibel level should be. Thank you, Michael, very much for the feedback. Really do appreciate it. I have my levels here, but I really can't tell for sure what is, optimum right now. So we'll keep the levels here right now, though. A little Diamond Rio, a little older country stuff. Last question I think we'll get to right now. Ace says, "I may have missed the discussion, just joined." Thank you for joining, Ace. What was the reason Fort got reps over Williams? Wasn't his snap count higher? And may that continue? Williams' snap count ended up being higher. Williams played 7 snaps, Fort played 4, but Fort was the first guy in after Ryan Shazier got hurt. Let's pull up the Shazier play, actually. One of the times he might have gotten hurt. It's hard to tell if he got hurt. The play took himself out or the play before. I shouldn't think if I can remember when that play was. It was a completion over the middle, I think on the Washington's touchdown drive. I think it was this. Yeah, it was this one here. This is the play where Shazier took himself out. But he might have gotten hurt on the play before. I don't know why Fort came in first. I think he was even asked about that by the Trib, and he really wasn't sure. Not that he would really have a great answer for that. But yeah, so I really couldn't tell you. I thought that was kind of one of the more interesting things. But yeah, there's Shazier here. You can see him signaling, to take me out. He sounds like he's going to play this week, though. So that's a big sigh of relief. This might be, Shazier in his drop here somewhere. This is the play before. I don't know if he did something there. Whenever he did that, he was kind of pumping his feet. It's a right knee. I thought it was his left, which is my mistake. But you're going to see, I think he probably tweaked something here. He tried to go another play. You're seeing him pedal, and he plants that right foot there, and I think maybe right there, something just didn't feel right. I mean, it's tough to tell because he kind of always walks with a limp, even when he's fine. But he just kind of looked like maybe he felt something, and then he tried to go through another play, and it just wasn't right. And so he was smart to take himself out there. Don't play through it. He knows the injury game too, pretty well. Like right there. See, the coach just gets in the way, but see his right knee, top of the screen there. Maybe something happened there. It's hard to say for sure, though, but the bottom line is hopefully he plays this week. He might be on a bit of a pitch count. They did some stuff when he came back last year after that shoulder injury, where they rotate Vince and Sean Spencer, so they might do the same. So that snap count will be very interesting to see. But hopefully it's kept to a minimum, because a healthy, active Ryan Shazier is the best thing for the Steelers defense. Alright, we'll see. Maybe we get one more question in. Done this for about an hour now, which is awesome. I appreciate you guys showing up. I wasn't sure how this would go. I was worried it was just going to be me for a whole half hour, just talking to nobody. So I appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully we'll do this other days where there probably it's going to naturally be more people during the week. Saturdays is going to kind of the quiet day. So thank you guys for having great questions. All right, I think we are going to close up shop for this time, but we'll try to do this maybe once a week. We still have our Thursday mailbag, so don't worry about that. And then we'll do some coaches stuff where it's not really a chat like this, but it's maybe breaking down a play or two, like we did with the Ryan Shazier breakdown yesterday. So thank you guys so much. Really, really appreciate it. Appreciate all the feedback. This will be archived though, so if you missed it or you jumped in late, you can see the whole thing later once it gets processed and everything. That'll go up on steelsdepot.com and also gets archived to my YouTube channel. So subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to be get that notification whenever we do the live streams. I'll try to put out notice beforehand. But yeah, so you can subscribe to that. The Alex Kozora on YouTube, Steelers Depot, of course, definitely follow them and stay with the site. So thank you guys for watching. Really, really appreciate it, and we will talk to you soon.